Chapter 2 Guru Nanak's Childhood. The late night moon that was getting thinner with each passing day, today stands in the easterly corner, waiting for the sun rays. The starry constellation has been showering their wonder and dancing round the North Star, waiting on the arrival of the godly soul. The clear blue sky blossoming like a jewel, as if in devotion, is waiting with its head bowed down to receive the godly soul. The plants, the trees in the gardens and the forests seem to be holding baskets of flowers on their heads, ready to spread the flowers on the path where the godly soul, the emperor of the hearts, and the majesty for the weak, is to put their sacred feet. The branches with green leaves of the tall and high trees are moving gently. The green grass spread as a velvety carpet for the Guru. The earth, the sky, the entire cosmos becomes full of radiance. Radiance showered as if there was never any darkness on earth runs away, and radiance is entering the minds of people. People who were sleeping, whose minds were sleeping, are awakening. The minds that are in meditation are scattering like the rays of the sun, enjoying happiness and wonder. A long and soft tune can be heard. You, you, you. Tu, tu, tu. Who is it? Is it some person? No, it's a running well. We can see. It's making a tune. Zoom, zoom, zoom. But now the godly ears have come that can have the sensation of you, you, you. The well that is making the sound zoom, zoom, zoom is perceived by the godly mind, the saintly mind, the mind that is attuned to Vaheguru as you, you, you. Who is this godly soul? Who is this man? His name is Hardayal. He is the priest of the town. Hardayal's job is to perform the ceremonies. When there is a special occasion in the house, like a marriage or a birth, he is the one who attends and performs all of the rituals. Hardayal is devoted to Vaheguru. He feels the suffering of the people in general, and the people of his caste, strength to do anything for them. There is no unity, there is no love. Nobody has a spirit of sacrifice. When he feels the suffering, he prays to Vaheguru. Oh Vaheguru, whenever there is a lack of religiousness, you come to the earth. Now it's worse. Now it's the worst it's been for a long time. Please, you come, you save us. When the saints suffer at the hands of bad people, only you can come and save them. Then only then your saints are saved. Please come now. The entire country has no religiousness. At this time, a voice comes from distant trees. Oh Vaheguru, you are great. Oh Vaheguru, you are great. Hardayal is startled. Ah, you have come. My estimation seems to be correct. Fortunate are my eyes. They have become so fortunate. O Vaheguru, O powerful Creator, I bow to you. As he was praying to Vaheguru, a person who was a bit younger than him came after finishing his bath and sat down beside him. He was a teacher. He taught reading and writing. He taught arithmetic to children. He taught plus, minus, multiplication, divide. He also taught how to write letters He taught everything that helped his students do very well in business, and his name was Gopal. He knew Sanskrit and could teach the language. He wanted to talk to Hardayal, but Hardayal was looking towards the rising sun and paying attention to a person from whom the voice of, "Oh Vaheguru, you are great," was coming. So the teacher kept sitting and looking at him with interest. Now came Pandit Brijnath after having a bath and dressing up. He was neither a priest nor a teacher, but he was a scholar and a Sanskrit teacher. He earned money by teaching Sanskrit to children. He also felt the suffering of the people and was sometimes sad about it. Today he was sad about some suffering that a friend of his from Delhi had told him about. He came and sat down near Hardayal and waited to speak with him. After a little while, Hardayal turned to look at him. That voice that he had heard earlier was no longer able to be heard, and very slowly he opened his eyes. All of the three friends now greeted each other and came nearer to one another. Their conversation started. The sun had risen. It was nice weather. Brijnath began to speak. He heaved a big sigh and said, "Who knows when it's going to be time for the Hindu religion to end? Have you heard about how all of those Hindus who have been innocently worshipping their gods and goddesses have been treated?" Hardayal replied, "When has there ever been peace? From the time of the death of King Jaipal, when did we have peace even for a day? Our country that was full of gold, silver, knowledge, art and comfort has been sacrificed by the fire of hunger and the greed of these invaders that have come. We are finished, but their greed and hunger seems as if it will never end." Gopal also spoke. "Well, we have a king. His name's Rai Bular. He's a Muslim, but he takes care of Hindus. It's quite strange, because generally Muslims are against Hindus, but Rai Bular is not such." Hardayal agreed. "I think his nature is good, and also he has good advisors. But the rest of us are suffering without such a good king. I have already been telling you that the atrocities from rulers have crossed all limits. Now a prophet will come. A prophet has to come. The signs are that there will be a prophet coming. See, for so many years it hasn't rained on time, but it's raining on time now. The seasons are on time. These are the signs of a prophet coming." Brijnath Pandit responded, "Well, you may be right, but how long should we remain in hope? We have been waiting for somebody to come for so long. We have already suffered enough, and the atrocities of the present King Lodi have become unbearable." Gopal responded, "This is true. What should we do? We are poor, we are weak." They turned to Hardayal with hope and said, "You are a Pandit, you are devoted to Vaheguru. It may be that what you're saying is correct, that it is time for a prophet to come." Hardayal responded, "I am sure that it's time for the prophet to come, and if I am not mistaken, he has already come. He is a child, and nobody has said as yet that he is a prophet or a great man or a saint, but the signs are all there." The Pandit Brijnath replied, "Oh, really, Hardayal? Please tell us more. Let us have his glimpse. Let us see and make sure." Hardayal turned. "Why? Mr. Gopal, did you not feel?" Gopal, in amazement, said, "When? Where? Who?" Hardayal replied, "It's the child of the Bedi family." "Which Bedi family?" "Among us, Bedi is Mehta Kalu, isn't it?" "Yes," Hardayal replied, "his child, Nanak." "Nanak, Nanak, Nanak. Ah, yes, after some thinking, he agreed, yes, the signs are miraculous. Hardayal said, he had been coming to you for studies, had he not? You must have seen him closely. The teacher replied, I did see his miracles, but it did not strike me that he is a prophet or a saint from the heavens, but the signs are wondrous. Brijnath, who had been listening with interest, said, O priest, Hardayal, are you sure? The signs of a prophet are very clear. Have you gone and checked yourself? The priest Hardayal replied, I went there when the child was born. I had to write the birth horoscope, so I was called there and then to make sure of the time in minutes and seconds. You see, when the child was born, the nurse tells us that it seemed as if happiness and delight reigned all over the sky and earth. Then it seemed as if some invisible people stood in the sky, showering flowers and stars. The child was born smiling, and the nurse tells us that at the time it appeared as if some group of people were singing welcome songs. At the time, only I was called, and then I had a glimpse of him also. You see, my job is that of a priest. I have seen many children being born to rich people in this town and the neighbouring towns, and prepared their horoscopes, but I have never seen such a godly soul, nor any miraculousness that is in this child. Brijnath said, Well, when you felt like that, why didn't you tell us as well? We would have offered him a prayer with lighted lamps. The priest Hardayal replied, We have ego in our mind. When we see such miraculousness, we start having doubts. Secondly, if what I believe is true, then to tell everybody about it is not good. They say that the king Lodi is a terrible man. They say that they are religious and civilized, but in practice they are hard-hearted and cruel. So I didn't say much because I was afraid that these tyrants might bring trouble for Nanak in his childhood. Brijnath replied, Isn't it strange that a prophet from the heavens has come in our town, and he will take away all of the suffering of the people, and we don't even know of it? The priest replied, We do know, O Pandit, but it seems maybe that the ego in our mind is getting in the way of letting us know more about him. Did you not hear that a son is born in the Bedi family who is very handsome? And the nurse has told many miraculous things of happiness and delight? But have you ever thought of making an effort to know more about it? Brijnath replied, I did hear, but my attention did not go towards this. There are some children who are different. I saw one child in Benares who could do high arithmetic at the age of 7. Once I saw an 8-year-old child singing vocal music to a very high standard. And in Orissa I saw a Brahman's child who would in no time repeat whatever was read out to him only once. I read verses from the Vedas and he immediately repeated all of them, although he had not studied Sanskrit at all. Sometimes, at some places, such special children are born, but mostly I have seen that they don't live for long. Gopal, the teacher, replied, Oh, you are right. At Lahore, once I saw a child. He was the son of an astrologer. He was hardly 6 or 7 years old. He worked out geometry so well without any errors. His father and everybody were astonished, but he didn't live long. Hardayal spoke. What you say is true. Such children are born sometimes. Even the Muslims, who generally do not believe in such things, sometimes wonder about these children. The whole world wonders. But we know that the efforts and practices that are performed in previous births sometimes help these young children to be very talented at such a young age. But here the signs are different. These signs are not of effort and practice of previous birth. These are signs of a prophet, of a saint. In my view, this child is definitely a saint. His personality is sweet and loving. He gives selflessly to people who don't have. He doesn't seem to be greedy. And the way he talks has a certain feeling in it. His forehead shines with radiance, and miracles seem to happen from him automatically. I have seen him throughout his childhood. Every other day I've been going to see him. And as I see him, I become cool within. I get this feeling of delight and peace of mind. I have never seen him crying like other children. Whenever I see him, he's showering happiness from his eyes full of sweetness. When he started to learn to walk, he would pick up and give away anything that he came across. When he grew more in age, even then, any beggar or anybody who was needy would not go away disappointed. He would give away whatever he had near to him. He would often give away many things from his own home. And when I have watched him playing with other children, he is not like others. Mostly when I watch children, they fight. I have never seen him fight. One day, I saw him picking fruit from a tree for the children, but he himself did not eat. Then, at the age of 5, I saw him sitting with his eyes closed for an hour or even 2 hours. At that time, his forehead shined. His lips were in a smile, and it seemed that he was immersed in the love of Vaheguru. When he plays with children, he always helps them. What more can I say? That feeling I had on the first day I met him that he is a prophet just won't go out of my mind. Day by day, my faith is increasing. Just now, from the east, I heard a voice saying, "Oh Lord, you are great." And it was Nanak who was singing. Then the tutor, who was listening with interest, started to speak. "Yes, they brought him to my school for me to teach him." Har Dayal interrupted. "Yes, I'm aware of that. Nanak's father, when he saw that his child was giving away many of his things, he came to me and complained. He said to me, 'You said to me that this boy is going to be a king or a prophet and that he will bless the world, but he is giving away all of our household things.' I tried to make Nanak's father understand who he was, but he wasn't in a position to listen. One day it was decided that he should be sent to a school. He would be out the whole day, so then there would be less of a chance to give away things, and more of a chance to learn to read and write. Nanak's father hoped that by learning to read and write, that he would be able to take care of his father's work. When I heard about this, I didn't know how to tell Nanak's father that I really didn't think he was going to do his father's work. How could I tell him that he will be a prophet of the world, of the universe? "Oh Gopal, you tell me, what have you seen in him?" Gopal replied, "Yes, you're right. Mehta Kalu, Nanak's father, came to me and said, 'My boy is giving away all of our household things. He is fearless and carefree. Please teach him.' I have tried to teach him, but all I have seen is that he learns everything so quickly. I wrote the alphabet on a board, and it took him only 1 day to write it all himself. The same thing happened with the multiplication tables. He also learned those in just 1 day. As I taught him, I would sometimes look at his face and sometimes at his feet and wonder, what miracle is this? He is never rude, he is always smiling, and sometimes he closes his eyes and gets immersed in the love of Vaheguru. I did not understand this. I thought perhaps he's sleeping. But now, as you're speaking and as you're telling me about your experiences of Nanak, I realized that what I thought was sleep must be meditation. As soon as he enters the school, everyone around him feels a sense of coolness and happiness. Today, the other students have told me that whenever I am out, he makes all the boys sing together. He makes them sing, "Oh Lord, you are great." Maybe you're right. Maybe he is a saint. Brijnath had a question on his mind. If this boy is truly a saint, Can you tell me what happens when the other boys are rude to him or threaten him? Does he get frightened? Gopal replied, Nobody bullies him. He himself isn't afraid of anyone, and he doesn't bully anybody. He doesn't get angry. He doesn't fight. The other boys follow him wherever he goes. I haven't seen this myself, but some of the boys tell me that when Nanak sits with his eyes closed, he has a glow on his face. Hardayal replied, I think you're right. Nanak is no ordinary child. He is the One.